Hello, welcome back to Project Dakar, and we'll kick off straight away with some before pictures of the throttle body. Look how disgusting and minging that was. All inside, around the butterfly, everything. So stripped it all down, took off all the sensors, injector out, so on and so forth, whacked it through the ultrasonic cleaner at work, give it a good going over, and I think you'll agree the difference is amazing. And in my head afterwards, obviously it will run better, hopefully performance gain. There you go, look at that, shiny, almost looks brand new. Will come out really well, to be honest, really well. So built it all back up, all the sensors and everything, throttle position sensor, injector, whatnot, all back in. And yeah, very pleased with that, come up really nice. Now we'll get on to the head race bearings and bottom yoke. Look how rusty that is. Now credit to BMW for this, the two holes marked with those circles are what you drive a punch down in to knock the bearing off the main stem, which is a great idea. Really good, really handy, not many people do that. And as you can see there, after a bit of wire brushing, a bit of painting, it's come up okay. Ideally powder coat, but it worked good, it made it nice. The sprocket carrier, replaced the bearings in there, the old scabby bolts, got them all changed for stainless steel ones. And I think you'll agree that with the new sprocket on there as well, looks really nice. Happy days, win-win. There's a few pictures here, a few random bits that were about to be sandblasted. I was very fortunate to have the availability to be able to use a sandblaster at work. I thought it was going to be a bit harsh on that radiator, but to be honest, using it gently and from a distance, it was actually not too bad in knocking off all the loose kind of aluminium corrosion off the radiator. Allowed it a nice bit of coverage of paint. Now onto this. Don't ask me why I've done a slow-mo, because it doesn't really make sense. It was a good idea, or thought it was at the time. Clearly it's not a good idea, and also the camera angle with the light behind didn't really do it any justice either, but I thought I'd try it at the time just to see, and yeah, it didn't really end up with the best angle. Now if we go on to here, again, still slow motion. Yeah, you live and learn. This is a before side of it, so you can see a lot of corrosion on there, and then I'll flip it round and you'll see where it's the after effects of knocking it off. So it knocked off all the rust, but it was a long process due to the compressor not really being a big enough capacity to run the sandblaster for a long period of time, which was frustrating, having to keep stopping and starting, but still very fortunate to be able to give it a try and use one. Now we get on to the main reason I ended up stripping it down, because all the paint that was flaking off the engine made it look terrible in my opinion. I don't understand why BMW or Rotax, a producer of the engine, whoever painted it, used whatever paint, but it's terrible, just flaking off everywhere. I wasn't looking forward to this bit. This was the first part of the clean, the initial process, just to remove any of the loose debris off the surface. I was hoping that it would be a little bit more successful and look a little bit nicer after I'd done this bit, but I still wasn't happy and wasn't getting the progress that I really needed, so I'll have a think and come back to this one. Now this is definitely more of a rewarding watch, definitely see a good bit of progress in this one. Just using Gunk, I think the brand of the cleaner that I was using. Now, due to the whole theme of this project being a budget restoration, in hindsight, perhaps what I should have done was taken the frame, swing arm and perhaps other parts to go and get dipped or blasted and then be powder coated. But again, like I say, the whole theme of this project was budget restoration. It wasn't even supposed to be a full strip down, it just ended up being a strip down because I got carried away with myself. That really started from the few bits where you could see rust on some of the things that you have seen and the things that you will see, and then it kind of progressed from dressing one bit up, making it look a little bit better, and then that makes everything else look shit. So bit by bit it started coming apart, and then that's obviously how we got to this point. Now I'm glad I did, definitely glad I did, because taking it apart, making sure everything's all correct and clean, bearings, the headstock bearings were knackered, the swing arm bearings were corroded, the rear shock linkage bearings were corroded, and bearing in mind this bike's only done 15,000 miles in that region, 2003 model, I think it is. So it's definitely been beneficial pulling it apart and making everything nice. You live and learn. I think next time I'll do a couple of bits slightly differently, but again, the whole thing behind this project was budget restoration. Just me in my garage making everything look nicer than what it was for minimum price, because this was only going to be a winter hack kind of ride around bike that I've just ended up getting carried away with. This next bit's me removing a snap bolt at the front of the frame, where one of the, I think it's the left cover that covers the oil tank, bolts down to just behind the headstock. So just center punched it, drilled it all out, and then once I've drilled it all out, I think I'm tapping the new thread in it there. That worked out well. And on the bottom there, I just removed another broken bolt that was in there. I think I hold it to the camera, yeah, just about saw it. Yeah, so that's that bit, and then I think I'll just give it a bit of a final kind of wipe over, get some of the handprints off it. Still not finished, but getting there. On to the biggest eyesore of the bike. How they are that corroded and seized is beyond me. Shocking. So that was going to be very rewarding to get them all kind of stripped, blasted and painted. Now here's back on the kind of painting process, so the bit that I was sandblasting in the slow-mo video earlier. How much better does it look just with a bit of primer on? So much better. So yeah, this is the more exciting bit. I like painting. Haven't got a proper spray booth or anything, you know, of that sort, but there are a few of the bits. I did actually change the colour because that was matte black and I wasn't really a fan, so I ended up going for those bits satin black in the end. They look a lot better. And then onto the sandblasting of the rear subframe, and again you look at the amount of corrosion that's on there. Yeah, just shocking. And again, another good reason for it coming apart, to at least hopefully improve the longevity of the bike. You can just see everywhere the corrosion. Yeah, it was just everywhere, but it's getting there now. It's a bit more sandblasting. Like I say, it took a while with the sandblasting, but we got there. And then again onto a bit of primer. How much better does it look? As soon as you start painting and primering, it looks so much better. Now I did actually get an aerosol can which had a hardener in it, so it's like a 2-pack. You activate the can, then you agitate it, or you shake it like crazy, and then it dries with a hardener in it. For reference, this was a sandblaster that I used, and the drill with the different attachments, wire wheel, flat wheel in there. Yep, and obviously the wire brush attachments. And then we get on to the engine. So I decided in the end to block up any intakes, any ports, any holes, cover the cylinder head because the cylinder head was okay, and then sandblast it. And it did actually turn out alright. Then on to valve clearances. So just to kind of make sure that everything is done at ease and as correct as possible, check the valve clearances. I replaced the spark plug, replaced the oil filter. And fortunately for me, the valve clearances was actually in tolerance, so I'll definitely take that as a win, because albeit I'm very capable of doing valve clearances, but I can't stand doing valve clearances. So makes it a lot easier when the engine's out of the bike. That's 100% for sure. So yeah, there's just a few bits for reference. Yeah, oil and filter and whatnot. At this point, that was a reference picture for pipe orientation, and now onto this, which turned out really nice, but frustration, oh my god. I tried to mask up the cam cover, rocker cover, and when I masked it up, the masking tape wouldn't stick, so I got really impatient and stupidly ended up just painting and getting overspray all over the cam cover. Oh god, yeah, massive regret. Anyway, you'll see that soon. Yeah, that's the engine cradle and the subframe now painted, and there it is. You see the overspray there. No words. Well, there is one, bodge, but it wasn't intentional. I'll rectify that at a later date and you'll see that. I'll get that. Anyway, there's the frame going back on now. Starting to look a little bit more like a motorcycle-ish. Not quite, but getting there. Now, this, what a bargain. I think it was 15 quid from Lidl. All of those attachments, and it all opens out. There's more underneath it. Really, really good. So with that in a drill, here I am rectifying my stupidity and impatience. getting all the paint off, which, if I'm honest, went a lot better than what I thought it would. I genuinely thought that was going to be a lot worse to get off, but as you can see with the wire brush, it didn't scratch it up, it didn't mark it too bad, the cover. You can't really see where I've gone over with that wire brush, just kind of gently running it round. It's quite a soft wire brush. Also managed to clean, as you can see there, a bit of paint off the rubber gasket, and on here now to the wire brush in the drill, cleaning some of the corrosion and dirt and stuff off this bracket. It wasn't too bad, but there was enough on there that I wanted to kind of make sure it's all done as well as possible, clean it all off, and eventually paint it. I think this is the bracket that holds the regulator rectifier by the rear shock. And then onto one of the last jobs in this video, where we're going to replace the steering head bearings. So pulled out the old races, or tapped them out should I say, give everything a little bit of a clean up, make sure everything's all nicely greased for going back together. Then we are just fitting a new seal in the cap, getting all the new bearings ready, making sure everything's all nice and clean and ready to go. And then yeah, that was just a quick one. I think, don't quote me, but I think the bearings are the same top to bottom. They're normally different sizes. But yeah, just tapping them all the outer bearing races back in now, and get it all sorted and built back up on the front there. And this is the exciting bit. Every single step, every single piece that you put back on starts resembling more like a motorbike, finally kind of aiming towards the final goal. Anyway, that's about it really for this one. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, or you would like to see more, then please subscribe. It will help me massively grow. Really appreciate it. Thank you all, and see you on the next one. Ciao.